that I'm going a little out of order here because I'm going to pursue some of the things that you were just talking to Mr. Fry about and remind you about your confirmation hearing. At your confirmation hearing in January, you said under oath, and I quote, "There will be no politicization at the FBI. There will be no retributive actions taken by the FBI should I be confirmed." And in your written response to the Senate questionnaire, you said, I quote, "Personnel decisions shall be based on performance and adherence to the law, and every FBI employee will be held to the absolute same standard, and no one will be terminated for case assignments." So I want to just go through a couple scenarios with you to get a sense of whether you think these are examples of politicization of the FBI or making decisions based on the performance and adherence to the law. So, first question. Would hiring FBI agents, analysts, and supervisors from only one political party being politicization of the FBI or making personnel decisions based on performance and adherence to the law?
We don't ask FBI people, applicants, where their political parties are.
Mr. Patel, do you ask FBI applicants who they voted for?
The FBI does not.
Are you aware that in the lawsuit that Mr. Driscoll filed against you and the FBI, he was asked who he voted for?
Since that lawsuit has been filed, that's ongoing litigation, I'm not able to comment.
Well, but it also means that you just said that what happened in his situation didn't happen. So we will go on to the next question. Let me ask you an even easier one. Does firing agents for working on the cases that they were assigned to and that the president didn't like, is that politicization of the FBI or making personnel decisions based on performance and adherence to the law?
The FBI doesn't terminate anyone based on case assignments alone.
Has the FBI ever been sued by somebody who felt that they were terminated based on case assignments?
In the entire history of the FBI, I'm sure they have.
No, since your tenure.
I'm sure there's ongoing litigation.
Yes. In fact, there is ongoing litigation. And in fact, people have been asked who they voted for. And in fact, you are running an FBI for the President of the United States rather than the people of the United States, because my questions were not hypotheticals. They are the things you have done during your tenure. And according to a lawsuit filed last week by long-term FBI agents, you fired former acting director Brian Driscoll. He had served with the Bureau for nearly 20 years, earned a Medal of Honor, Medal of Valor for bravery during the dangerous ISIS raid, and had a wealth of crisis response experience and led the FBI's critical incident response group. When the Trump administrations interviewed Mr. Driscoll for that role, they interrogated him about his political leanings and who he voted for in the last 5 elections. Questions Mr. Driscoll refused to answer because those types of questions impermissibly politicized the FBI. You also fired Steve Jensen, who served the FBI for nearly 2 decades and ran critical terrorism, counterintelligence, and organized crime operations, whom you once described as embodying what the American public demands of the FBI. But he was fired because he took part in investigating crimes committed on January 6th. And Trump's MAGA base lambasted you online for keeping him at the FBI. So he's no longer at the FBI. You also fired a decorated combat veteran with decades of experience in the Bureau, Special Agent Walter Jardia, because he worked on the investigation into the Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election and helped investigate Trump's ally, Peter Navarro. Director Patel, it is very clear that you have flunked your own test. You've put saving your job, which I actually believe you were being honest about during your confirmation hearings, over doing what's right for the FBI and the American people. That is not adherence to the law. Thank you, and I yield back.
Time of the gentleladies.
Welcome back to Crossline Politics. Before we get started, make sure you like this video and subscribe so you never miss our breakdowns of the moments that define our democracy. What you're about to hear is one of the clearest examples of real congressional oversight in action, and it deserves every American's attention. In the hearing we just watched, Representative Deborah Ross did something rare in politics today. She didn't show up with slogans or theatrics. She showed up with facts, sworn testimony, and a simple question: is the FBI being run according to the law or according to political loyalty? Ross pressed FBI Director Kash Patel on promises he made under oath during his confirmation. He vowed no politicization, no retaliation, and no firings based on politics or case assignments. But Ross laid out a series of disturbing cases where decorated, long-serving FBI agents were allegedly pushed out after working investigations that happened to be politically inconvenient for those in power. She named agents like Brian Driscoll, Steve Jensen, and Walter Jardia, each with decades of service, medals, experience, and reputations for professionalism. Yet, they were removed after refusing to answer political affiliation questions or after participating in investigations tied to January 6th, Russian interference, or individuals close to the president. Those aren't rumors. They're allegations backed by lawsuits, filings, and testimony. Ross's point was simple. If agents are being hired, fired, or pressured based on political leanings instead of their performance and adherence to the law, then we no longer have an impartial FBI. We have a political apparatus wearing a badge. And for any patriot who believes in the Constitution, the rule of law, and equal justice, that should send a chill down your spine. What struck me most was how Patel responded. Denials, deflections, and refusals to comment because of litigation, but the pattern Ross exposed speaks for itself. When loyalty tests replace legal standards, when agents fear investigating certain people, when political pressure infiltrates law enforcement, the damage isn't just internal. It hits every American who expects justice to be blind. As a patriot, I stand with Deborah Ross on this. She wasn't attacking the FBI. She was defending it. She was defending the idea that federal power must serve the people, not a president. Her questioning reminded us that democracy is protected not by slogans, but by accountability, courage, and the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. If we want a justice system worthy of trust, then oversight like this is not optional. It's essential, and it's up to all of us to stay informed, stay engaged, and demand institutions that uphold the Constitution above any political agenda.